Ken Howard. One of the many perks of being president of the Screen Actors Guild is I have the opportunity to interview each year's Life Achievement Award for the SAG Awards. Last year was Betty White, who's a dear friend, and that was great fun. This year, it's Ernest Borgnine. We had the opportunity of working together some 17 years ago. It was pretty brief, though, and I didn't get to tell Ernie, who requires that everyone call him Ernie, how much I knew about him and why. So I'm going to begin this interview with some information for Ernie and then a series of questions. Ernie, my family moved to Manhasset, Long Island, when I was 10 years old in 1954. And as it happened, right behind us where we moved were Delbert and Ann Mann.
Oh my goodness.
And Ann Mann and my mother became very, very good friends. And so as a little kid, I heard the whole progress of Marty and how thrilled he was that it worked out that it was you, and the trip to Lonesome Pine, you know, to talk with you, with Patty Chayefsky,
Sure.
and how he talked then later about how there was real serendipity, how it all came together. I remember him even talking about how it was better because the budget was limited, that it made it more creative and more wonderful. And then them going out to the Oscars and you winning the Oscar, and from then on, so I really had this sense of knowing you right from the beginning in these stories,
Sure.
and then following your career very, very carefully. I never got to tell you that, but they were so fond of you, and Delbert Mann couldn't say enough about what a wonderful contribution, what a great guy you were.
He was a sweetheart. He really was. And not only that, but I pray for the man every night. He was such a wonderful man. Working with Delbert Mann on live television was having another lesson in acting.
Right.
It was just beautiful. I know he was a graduate of North Carolina, up in North Carolina, and every time I worked with him, it was just another lesson in acting. And of course, Marty, boom, it happened, and that was it. It all came about, believe it or not. May I go on?
Please.
It all came about when Rod Steiger was doing Judd in Oklahoma, a part that I wanted badly, and he got it instead. And so Delbert came down where we were shooting a picture called Vera Cruz. Bob Aldrich was directing, and he came down to get some advice on how to shoot outdoors and everything else. And he had this script of Marty under his arm, and Bob Aldrich said, "Can I read the script?" He said, "Sure." So a couple of weeks later at a party, they weren't able to get Rod Steiger. So they said, "Who in your estimation could play the part?" He said, I know of only one fella, God bless him." He said, "Ernie Borgnine." "Ernie Borgnine? He's a killer." "What are you kidding? He's a killer. He kills people, pitchforks and everything else." "No, Ernie Borgnine is an actor." And so they took a chance. And little did we know that actually the picture was to be made as a tax loss. They wanted to only make half the picture and shelve it and, call it quits. And the tax man said, no. There's past the rule. I said, "You've got to show, make the whole picture, and then you can." Well, okay, so they finished the picture with, for practically nothing. I made $5,000 in the picture, quite little realizing I would have done it for nothing anyway,
Right.
My first starring role. And the rest is history.
I know you had a stage background. We'll just jump around some things. Tell me a little bit about the Barter Theater, because I know you were working on stage and off stage and a real
The Barter Theater was very instrumental in helping me. I helped myself. But I learned how to drive a truck. I learned how to wash flats, the scenery. I learned everything you could possibly learn about backstage, doing lighting, doing everything, even sewing costumes. And one day they said, didn't you want to be an actor? I said, yes. I said, good, we got a part for you. I said, boy, where's this? Oh, boy, where's the script? No, you don't have to worry about a script. All you do is walk from stage left to stage right, and just don't say a word. You know, you're a union leader. Oh, okay. So I walked across the stage when my time came. I would pick a cigar and a derby hat, you know. And there happened to be a woman, a critic in the audience. She said, the only one I believed was the man who walked across the street as a union leader.
That's what we call stage presence.
From then on, you know, it's open sesame, and I started working on the stage. And by the time I finished, I was doing 14 shows a year down there, and it was wonderful. It was a great experience, and it really helped me when I went to work on Broadway with Helen Hayes and Joey Brown and all the rest of them, you know. But it was it's something that I recommend for every actor in the world to go through summer stock and really learn the hard way, the way I did. To really become an actor, you've got to pay attention. You've got to. I learned more from watching people than I did out of books. And I'd say to myself, I like what he's doing, but I don't care what he's doing, you know. And the first thing you know, I got up there and they said, "What do you do?" Let's do this. Let's try that, and it worked.
You know, one thing I wanted to ask you about, because I started on the stage and did a lot of stage work, I completely agree with you, but actors that I'd worked with once I was in New York spoke with real fondness of that time when it was live television in New York, and they were always accomplished stage actors, but the pressure of doing live.
Sure.
And I wondered if you just talk about that a bit, because I know you were involved in some of those things during the time when you were in Brooklyn and working. Yes? Do I have that right?
Yeah, it was very simple for me, because as an actor from the stage,
right.
Well, you know, you walked in and you forgot a camera was there, but there was one thing that happened, well, mostly in motion pictures, but the one thing that happened in live television was that you knew what was coming. You knew what the score was when the director said, try this, try that, and do this, do that, and come in from stage left or stage right. And so you were cognizant of the fact that, hey, this was part of the stage. And forget the cameras. Let the camera do their own job, you know? And the first thing you know, it was the simplest thing in the world. But the idea is you have that knowing, the feeling of having been an actor on the stage. It's very easy doing live television.
Yes.
You know, that was it.